What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the
fuck? What's up? It's your boy Kevin to on YouTube shit. Hey man, say man, we are lit the team, man. Turn. Take to motherfucking day. Show hood outside. Big crip in the gang. Show hood outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia, do your thing. And Texas, stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down. Always fight back. Never let somebody tell you who you are. But also never put yourself in a position you don't belong. Let's stay humble. Let's get on the revolution on the moment. Keep Yahweh first. Coming to the black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. We out here. Alright. Boom. See? It's motherfucking day. Show hood outside. Big crip in the gang. Show hood outside shit, man. Alright, gang. Turn up. Hey. This is wild, man. Have we been seeing, man? Sexual assault cases has been on the rampant lately. You know what I'm saying? I think after all that shit that celebrities been getting exposed for what's been going on, everybody is just, it's blood in the water. You know what I'm saying? So we got Smokey Robinson getting hit with 4 back-to-back sexual assault SAs. And allegedly they from 4 Mexican girls who are housemaids. Man, and somehow this stuff is just always string back to Diddy, bruh. It's like, damn, you know, they got 2 different situations. It's just, man, you know, the longer you're in the game, the longer they have shit to try to hold against your head. If you're a strong person, you don't give a fuck, you can't get control. But if you're easily to be able to get control, like, if they say some shit, hey, that's on you. So it's like, and allegedly, they saying Smokey Robinson been through some shit like this before. I'm like, bruh, this shit is getting wild. So we got the videos, man. It's gonna really break it down. Let's get into this bitch. Gang, we got Smokey Robinson accused of sexual assault in bombshell lawsuit. Nigga, they trying to hit this nigga with like 4 bitches.
We filed a complaint against William Smokey Robinson Jr. We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist that must be stopped.
The very man who swooned fans with his music for decades is now accused of sexual assault. But he's not the only one named as a defendant in this shocking lawsuit. I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. Smokey Robinson and his wife Frances are accused of negligence, sexual battery, false imprisonment, and hostile work environment. And those are just some of the claims brought against the legendary singer by 4 women, who we only know as Jane Does.
The principal causes of action against Mr. Robinson, in particular, are sexual battery, assault, false imprisonment, gender violence,
they trying to hit that nigga with
and creating a hostile work environment. Obviously, these ladies are identified in the lawsuit as Does, Jane Does 1 through 4, to protect their privacy, since the lawsuit involves sexual misconduct of the worst sort.
The nearly 30-page complaint was brought against Smokey Robinson and his wife Frances Robinson today in Los Angeles Superior Court.
Our 4 clients have a common thread. They're Hispanic women who were employed as housekeepers by the Robinsons, earning below minimum wage. As low-wage workers in vulnerable positions, they lack the resources and options necessary to protect themselves from sexual assaults throughout their tenure as employees for the Robinsons. Let me briefly summarize each of their individual claims. I will not describe the details of the sexual assaults and rapes because they're too graphic and disturbing for this news conference. But you can read them in the complaints that we have provided with many of you today.
According to the court filing, Jane Doe 1 began working for the Robinsons as their housekeeper from January 3rd of 2023 up until February of 2024. She claims she was forced to resign because Smokey repeatedly sexually assaulted and sexually harassed her. The first alleged incident happened in March of 2023. Jane Doe says she worked on the weekend for the couple. On a Saturday, the complaint says defendant Smokey Robinson would take defendant Francis Robinson to the nail salon and would rush home, knowing that he would be alone with plaintiff JD1. Or Jane Doe 1. When Smokey came home, he allegedly would call her into his bedroom, lock the door, escort the couple's dog Shiloh out of the room. He showers, then only puts on his underwear, then would neatly place a white towel on his bed in preparation for what was about to occur. The filing goes on to say Smokey would kiss Jane Doe in her mouth, her neck, and breast. Then he would allegedly roughly penetrate her vagina with his fingers, orally copulate her, then penetrate her with his penis, which caused her great pain. The complaint alleges Smokey enjoyed ejaculating in her without using a condom. Jane Doe says she would resist, and in one attempt to stop him, she said you're married, and Smokey casually ignored it. The filing says Smokey allegedly sexually assaulted Jane Doe in that same manner at least 7 times, and the last assault occurred on February 17th of 2024, and she resigned the following week. As for Francis Robinson, Jane Doe 1 alleges she failed to take appropriate action to prevent her husband's conduct, despite having full knowledge of his alleged prior acts of sexual misconduct. According to the filing, he settled cases with other women that have suffered and experienced similar sexual assaults perpetrated by him. Jane Doe 1 also claims Francis perpetuated a hostile work environment by regularly screaming at Jane Doe 1. As for Jane Doe 2, she worked for the couple from May of 2014 until February of 2020 and only resigned for the same reasons as Jane Doe 1. Jane Doe 2 claims that Smokey sexually assaulted her in the later part of 2016 when they were home alone together. Smokey allegedly texted her asking her to meet him at his home in Catsworth, which according to the complaint was without closed-circuit cameras. He allegedly summoned Jane Doe 2 to the laundry room or garage where the cameras weren't there. He would grab her and begin penetrating her with his fingers, and then he would allegedly rape her. The filing says Smokey allegedly sexually assaulted Jane Doe 2 23 different times and would humiliate her. He also allegedly didn't use a condom with her either, and if she refused, Smokey allegedly would make his wife be mean to her. Jane Doe 2, like Jane Doe 1, says she was unwilling to report due to fear of losing her livelihood, public embarrassment, effects on her immigration status, and because Smokey was a well-known celeb with influential friends and associates. Jane Doe 3 allegations are very similar. She worked for Smokey from February of 2012 until April of 2024. He would allegedly do the same bedroom ritual, including showering, placing a towel on his bed, then would allegedly force Jane Doe 3 to lie face down on the towel and then would penetrate her. The complaint alleges Smokey Robinson raped Jane Doe 3 in the same manner at least 20 times. On one occasion, Jane Doe 3 allegedly resisted the singer, and Smokey allegedly offered her $500 to allow him to orally copulate her, which she refused. She claims she resigned from her job in April of 2024 after his alleged sexual assault and hostile work environment was experienced daily. And she says that Francis allegedly perpetrated the hostile work environment by regularly screaming at her and saying ethnic slurs to her, something that Jane Doe 1 and 2 also claim happened to them. As for Jane Doe 4, she was also a longtime housekeeper for the singer, working from him from October of 2006 to April of 2024. She also worked as a personal assistant, cook, and hairdresser for Smokey's wife, Frances. Jane Doe 4 claims the first sexual assault happened in 2007 when she accompanied Smokey to his Las Vegas home. When the two were alone together, he allegedly forced her into the bedroom and raped her. Another incident in the filing says around mid-2019, Jane Doe 4 was cleaning the primary bedroom. Smokey showered and returned to the bedroom while naked and erect. He allegedly did the same method that he allegedly did with Jane Does 1, 2, and 3, pulling back the sheets, laying the towel down, and began kissing her breasts and neck, then allegedly raped her too. According to the filing, Smokey's alleged sexual harassment and assault continued until the very day she decided to resign. The filing says Smokey's wife Frances also regularly screamed at Jane Doe 4 in a hostile manner and used ethnic slurs against her.
The obvious question that one will ask, and I suspect most will, why didn't they report Robinson's criminal misconduct to law enforcement or go public before now. As I said before, these women were all low-wage earners living from paycheck to paycheck.
Damn.
They all feared missing a payday and not being able to pay their rent or buy food for their families. And also, Smokey's Robinson celebrity status intimidated them and all made them feel powerless. I want to add that these four women were afraid of shame, familial humiliation, and embarrassment. The stigma that still exists in some cultures that unfortunately blames a rape victim for the assault perpetrated against them.
Damn.
And having to tell their husband and children of these despicable acts against them left them overwhelmed with shame and embarrassment. So, throughout their dreadful experiences with Mr. Robinson, all four women remained silent because many of them worked at the same time. Too embarrassed to reveal their assaults by Mr. Robinson to each other.
And we know what they do with these celebrities. They silence celebrities when shit like this happens.
Once they broke their silence, an avalanche of emotions began to flow between them.
I would have been the first one. Hell no, man.
Hence, they're all here today.
In addition to the allegations of rape, sexual harassment, and hostile work environment, all four Jane Does claimed the Robinsons failed to pay them minimum or overtime wages. They weren't provided rest or lunch breaks or provided wage statements for the hours that were worked. The four Jane Does are also suing for intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, gender violence, failure to pay overtime wages, and more. The four Jane Does are also seeking damages of no less than $50 million.
$50 million?
Honestly, no amount.
Back in the day, he probably piping out all the hoes.
These women.
Yeah.
For what, Mr.
That's why you try to get you a bad bitch who, you know what I'm saying, you can get comfortable
given the
with.
gravity
Just get you a motherfucking,
of Mr. Robinson's despicable and
stripper,
reprehensible misconduct,
Hey, do what you gotta do.
that is further detailed in the complaint, this amount is clearly warranted.
At least
There
you
are so
come in,
many
know what she's doing.
disturbing and, quite frankly, unsettling allegations mapped out in this complaint. I'm joined now by former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. Nima, I was pretty stunned by this complaint, especially because of these graphic details in it. What's your reaction to it?
Stunned is the right word, Elizabeth. I couldn't believe it when I read the allegations in the complaint, and not just one victim, multiple victims telling very similar stories of sexual assault and vaginal rape. Really disturbing to read. And obviously, as lawyers, you think you've seen it all. This was quite disturbing reading through the sordid details in this complaint.
Absolutely, and Smokey Robinson is a legendary singer, obviously for R&B, obviously for type of love music. But this is just, I can't emphasize enough how disturbing it is. And what do you kind of make of this pattern between Jane Doe 1, 2, 3, and 4? Smokey Robinson would allegedly shower, put a towel down, and allegedly raped 4 different women.
If they see a towel in the bed, they knew what was up.
All of whom were 4 Hispanic women, all now going by Jane Doe. But what's your reaction to just this? Feels like it appears like
he might be
power, but also sexual assault. Rape.
Graphic details and very similar stories, like you said. He would allegedly shower, come out with the towel down. Oftentimes, sexual assaults allegedly took place in parts of the home that didn't have cameras, when his wife was getting her nails done or otherwise out of the house. And you have individuals who, like you said, fall into the same category of household help of a certain national origin and certain race, and you would take advantage of them, both in terms of being their employer, sexually assaulting them, groping them, even penetrating them. So really disturbing allegations. When you're handling these types of cases as a civil plaintiff's lawyer, which I am, and oftentimes people that are abusers, they are usually not abusing just one person. So when you have individuals come forward that substantiate these allegations, it can make for a much more powerful case.
And it seems like there's power in numbers when it comes to this type of thing, especially when it comes to credibility and believability at that matter as well, too. And you brought up something interesting just about this pattern and that, this sometimes doesn't start with just one victim. Sometimes there's victims before that. And obviously these allegations, these are just alleged at this point. But I found something kind of interesting in reading through the complaint is that, the Jane Doe say that Smokey has done this before and he's settled with a number of other women even prior to these 4.
Welcome to
Done this before.
Damn, so Smokey been piping these hoes out.
Women, even prior to these 4 Jane Does. What do you make of just that little statement in the court filing?
So like you said, usually abusers have a type and they have an MO.
Damn,
It doesn't matter whether
he been
you're Jeffrey Epstein and R. Kelly.
He been piping these hoes.
You tend to like underage victims, or you're Harvey Weinstein, or a
You gotta understand, if probably some rumors going on, they know if you go get around Smokey, he's gonna pipe the fuck out of your ass.
Allegedly, of course, the fact that these allegations have been brought by not just these 4 women, but there's other
these motherfuckers trying to get their papers.
Obviously, the question is any of that evidence
they trying to get their family papers, their uncles, their great uncles, their aunties, their cousins.
Now, under
they trying to get them hoes papers, bitch.
You can't gag or have an NDA when you're talking about sexual
I don't know if y'all see how them motherfucking videos on TikTok.
They go out the window. So
all the Mexican men getting deported that was working.
Some previous settlements.
They trying to get the papers, bitch.
Confidential at the time. Those victims may be able to testify in this case.
And it wasn't just one defendant named in the complaint. It was another defendant, too, that's pretty important to this story and to this case, and that's Smokey Robinson's own wife, who was named as one of the defendants. And for the most part, her allegations kind of stem from a hostile work environment. You made a point earlier that, we know that these alleged victims in this case, that they are Hispanic women, and that Francis allegedly would shout out ethnic slurs to her and just would scream at them as well, too. What do you just make of her alleged involvement in all of this?
Obviously, the most serious claims are the sexual assault and the rape claims, but there's other claims as well, employment claims, which can be serious. Obviously, in this case, they're less serious because of the graphic nature of the rape claims. But, you have claims of a hostile work environment, sexual harassment, right? They're employees in the home, and they can't be...
But none of it is caught on camera, so it's like...
be discriminated
I don't
against.
know.
Or
it depends if you
deal
can
with
settle.
racial
50
slurs.
mil
That's
each is
something
insane,
that's
bitch.
unlawful in any state.
That's 200
especially the state of
mil.
California. California tends to be very employee-friendly in these types of claims, and both in terms of the protections and in terms of the jury verdicts here in California. They tend to protect employees here. We do employment work, and we handle these types of cases all the time, and the jury verdicts can be pretty significant.
Yeah, and in your opinion,
I said, man, I don't think no pussy worth 50 million,
especially when it comes to us talking about, the Diddy lawsuits.
Ain't no pussy worth 50 million
going on with Smokey Robinson,
I'm
but a lot of
real.
people are always questioning, why not bring this up criminally? Why go the civil matter, or the civil route, excuse me? Some of these alleged incidents happened just last year, but in your opinion, what do you say to that?
Oh, so this recently happened last year?
As a former prosecutor, there are many times where I walk my client into the Los Angeles Police Department or the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department or the local police
That
department.
one locked up because they get locked up, he don't be able to pay that money on.
Sex prosecutors. And the burden of proof in a criminal case is higher. Prosecutors sometimes like to take the easy wins. He said, she said type cases can be challenging to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, again, if you have multiple victims, that makes it easy. And frankly, Elizabeth, up until November, we had a district attorney in Los Angeles, George Gascon, who was perceived as being soft on crime and not prosecuting a lot of these cases. Now we have a new district attorney, Nathan Hochman, who's been more aggressive. We've seen it with cases like the Menendez brothers, for instance, who's taken a very different position. So sometimes the criminal case is outside of your hands as a victim's attorney. Believe me, there's many times where I want the case to be prosecuted, and prosecutors just don't pick it up because they don't want to take challenging cases. And if you look at the statistics, when it comes to
just like the feds, nigga, why spend all that money on when you ain't got it? You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. If I ain't make all that money on off this shit, I'm going to pick up his case.
It's less than 10% because victims often don't
Smokey
come
Robinson
forward.
got
When
the
they do, they're
M&Ms.
disbelieved. Law enforcement doesn't want to investigate. Maybe the claims are dated. Maybe a civil lawsuit's been filed and they think that this is all about money when it isn't. The victim just wants to get some sort of justice, even if it's civil justice, because they can control the civil case where they can't the criminal.
And
Okay.
how kind of
So a
tough
civil
is it,
case seems more
especially
reasonable
for,
than a criminal case,
alleged
because
victims
criminal
in
case,
this
the
case, in
police
this
and all
case
the
being
other people
Jane
got
Doe 1,
control
2,
of it.
3, and 4,
Civil case, you got the
to
fans
go
and all
up
that shit.
against a powerful
You got your
figure and a
lawyers.
powerful celebrity. Obviously, we've seen this in Diddy's case, but,
Because
in
when you get
Smokey
them lawyers, but
Robinson's
they don't give a
case, it
fuck
kind
about
of
you.
weighs
You
the
gotta get
same a
somebody
little
who's
bit here, where
gonna
we
really
have a
fight for you.
legendary singer. He's beloved by so many people. He's been singing for decades. I feel like a lot of people are always inclined to take the celebrity's point of view as opposed to what he allegedly
When you
subjected
famous, man, these
his
hoes gonna be
victims
throwing
to,
that pussy.
and that were
And they
kind of
want you
mapped
to
out
get
in this
caught up
complaint.
on some
And I'm kind
bullshit
of
so
like
they can
catching
try
the
to
press
ruin
conference
you.
going on right now,
That's
where
why you gotta pick
the
and
Jane Does,
choose
they're
who
appearing
really
in
gonna
what
be
looks like a
real.
wig and sunglasses and a mask
Cause you go for
because they're so
anything, shit. You
frightful
know what I'm
of
saying?
having their
These
names
motherfuckers out here
brought
on some
up,
other shit.
having their real names
Ruin your
brought
whole
up,
life
or even
type
just
shit.
showing any
Crip.
glimpse of what their identity is. But then you have, also the power in numbers, that it's 4 different women as opposed to, Diddy's suits where, they were filed one by one and not jointly. But what's your reaction to just going against a powerful, powerful figure like Smokey Robinson?
Elizabeth, it's a tale as old as time. A rich and powerful man takes advantage of that disparity in power and sexually assaults or otherwise abuses a younger woman. And oftentimes, those women are not believed. I can guarantee you in the comments below on Law and Crime, there's going to be people saying that this is a shakedown, this is extortion, this is a money grab, maybe even horrific racial slurs
50
or
M's is insane,
degrading
bitch.
slurs about these women. I don't know them. I'm not representing them. I don't know Smokey Robinson or his wife. The allegations may not be true, but people are quick to defend celebrities. Celebrities do very well in this country when it comes to civil and criminal cases because jurors and members of the public love them. They can't think that their favorite celebrity, their favorite artist can be involved in rape. Well,
I don't trust nobody.
victims, and I've sued
and
so many people in the music industry. I can tell you that it happens, and it happens quite frequently. Whether it's Kanye, Lizzo, Jason Derulo, Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, I can't tell you how many cases we have active right now against people in the music industry. And obviously, everyone knows about Diddy and R. Kelly and others that face criminal prosecution as well. But this is a big problem. Victims are not believed. And that's why so many of them are hesitant to come forward. I can't tell you how many people come into my office. Their life is going to be at risk, let's be honest. I sit down with them, they tell me this horrific tale. The random people, the and when I tell them, okay, this is what a lawsuit entails, you're going to have to tell your story at a deposition, you have to testify at trial. Even if you're a Jane Doe and even if people aren't reporting your name, courts in this country, they're open to the public, right? We recently had a case against Soldier Boy, where our victim had to come and tell her story and relive that trauma of being raped and sexually assaulted. It is not easy. So for every one of those victims we have, there's probably 5 to 10 others that can't go through it. They can't relive that trauma in a very public way. So it is challenging for the victims here.
Yeah. And what do you make of this $50 million in damages that the plaintiffs are seeking? And do you think that this is possible, that this will spring a domino effect, maybe something similar to how we kind of saw with Diddy as well, too?
We did. I mean, you're talking about Diddy. It was Cassie Ventura, right? She had a very long relationship with Combs and more than a decade. And when she filed that lawsuit, we saw others come forward. And, 4 is a lot of victims. I think probably that's what we may have in the Diddy criminal case. But that's pretty significant in terms of the number of people who are making very similar
we ain't got no documentary yet, so I don't know.
50 million collectively is not a significant number, in my opinion, for someone that has been raped in some instances dozens of times. And collectively, if that's the demand, I think that is not unreasonable under the circumstances.
Well, Nima Rahmani, I want to thank you so much for your time today and your insight into this. This was a very, very shocking complaint that, just reading through it, I was just astonished. But before we sign you off, do you see this case going to trial?
It's possible. The vast majority of cases settle. I do expect this case to settle. Sounds like Smokey Robinson has settled these claims before. I don't know if he has $50 million
to sell your claims is insane.
Or even handy,
and get to the same situation is wild.
Possibility of settlement, oftentimes that makes sense. Less than 2% of these cases actually go all the way to trial.
All right, we'll wait and see what continues to happen in this case. Again, Nima Rahmani, thank you so much for your time today. I always appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, as always.
Shout out to Black Star Chronicle. Man, the whole industry is shook it up, gang. Let's get into it.
necklace, igloo.
These are some serious allegations, and the attorney's just now calling Smokey Robinson a serial that needs to be stopped.
Remember that 2024 raid on his home in Miami Beach? Special agent in charge testified that he found parts of AR-15 rifles in Diddy's master bedroom.
The Diddy trial has forever ruined Smokey Robinson's image, even though they face very different accusations. While Sean Diddy Combs is fighting federal charges, including and racketeering.
The trial for hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs set to resume Tuesday after some explosive testimony from rapper Kid Cudi this week.
Robinson is
Kid
under criminal
Cudi went to that bitch? Oh, shit.
Accused by 4 former housekeepers of serious misconduct.
We filed a complaint against William Smokey Robinson Jr. We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist.
Damn.
Both cases expose dark sides of famous music icons, shaking fans and the industry alike. The trial spotlight on Diddy has also cast a long shadow on Robinson.
Yeah,
Their stories in the public eye
at
like
this
never
point,
before. People are starting to notice something strange. 2 big names in music, Smokey Robinson and Sean Diddy Combs,
Swinging things, hammer ringing king, Strucc necklace, igloo, ringing things for the bitches.
are now facing serious accusations. What makes this even more surprising is that the things they're being accused of sound very similar. Even though they come from different parts of the music world. Smokey from Motown and Diddy from hip-hop. They are now being connected by more than just their fame. They're both being accused of hurting women who worked close to them. These are not just random claims. They are serious.
You know what I'm saying? If it's court crime, like going to jail, they say they didn't do it.
Lives. Smokey Robinson is a music legend. People love his smooth voice and classic songs. For decades, he has been seen as a calm, gentle man who helped shape the sound of Motown. But now, that image is being questioned. 4 women who worked as housekeepers for him have come forward.
There's some serious allegations, and the attorney's just now calling Smokey Robinson a serial that needs to be...
They say he them, harassed them, and made their work environment feel unsafe. These women worked in his California home, and each one gave details about what happened to them. They say they were scared to speak up before because they didn't want to lose their jobs or be shamed in public. They are now asking for $50 million in damages.
3 of the women say they didn't want to report it to police, in part because they were afraid of risking the possible adverse effect on their immigration status.
The accusations against Smokey are not just civil. That means it's not just about money. The police are also looking into it now. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department said they are running a criminal investigation.
That's tough.
That means they are checking if Smokey should be charged with a crime. The women first filed a lawsuit, and then later, they went to the police. Smokey's lawyer says this is all made up and is just a way to take money from an 85-year-old man.
Smokey Robinson's attorney, his name is Christopher Frost, says as this case progresses, the evidence, the crucial element that will guide us, will show that this is simply an ugly method of trying to extract money from an 85-year-old American icon.
But that's what most lawyers say at first. What really matters is the truth, and that's what the police and courts are trying to find. Now, let's look at Diddy. His situation is very different in some ways, but also very similar. Diddy is also a big name in music.
Strucc necklace, igloo.
He has produced hit songs, built companies, and was known for being powerful in the music world. But over the past year, many people have come forward to say that Diddy used his power to others. He's not just facing a lawsuit, he's facing criminal charges in federal court, which is more serious. He's been accused of violence and even trying to silence people who speak against him.
Now, the last witness on the stand today, he tied Diddy to some pretty serious weapons.
One of the people who spoke up is Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former partner. She said Diddy hurt her in many ways for years. Her story helped start the legal cases against him. Other people have since come forward with stories of. One of them is Kid Cudi, another music star.
Day and night, I toss and turn, I keep stressing my mind.
He told a shocking story in court. He said Diddy was so angry about his relationship with Cassie that someone set Cudi's car on fire.
Kid Cudi, he goes on the stand. He says that Diddy blew up my Porsche. He broke into my home. It was explosive testimony.
He believes Diddy was behind it. Cudi said he even found his house broken into, his dog locked in the bathroom, and his gifts opened. This made him fear for his safety. It's scary how much power these men seem to have. Both Smokey and Diddy were seen as untouchable for a long time. The sad part is that the people who were hurt felt they had nowhere to go. They were scared they wouldn't be believed or would lose everything if they spoke up. There are other similarities too. In both cases, the victims were people who worked close to the men. Smokey's accusers were housekeepers.
You said it. Bombshell is right. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I read the complaint. Graphic details of sexual assault, too graphic to even discuss on TV.
Diddy's were assistants, artists, and former partners. These were people who depended on them for work and money. That kind of power can be dangerous when it's misused. It makes it easy for powerful people to control those who feel they have no choice but to stay silent. This kind of power is at the heart of both stories. Smokey's wife, Frances Robinson, is also being named in the lawsuit. The women say she helped create the toxic environment.
Robinson's wife is also named in the lawsuit. It details multiple allegations, some as recent as last year.
They say she screamed at them and even used hurtful, racist words. One woman says she was for years, while also being verbally by Frances. The lawsuit says Frances didn't stop what was happening. In fact, they say she made things worse. This shows how is sometimes not just one person's action. It can be a part of a whole system in the household. With Diddy, some of his staff are also being mentioned. One woman said someone from Diddy's team called her, crying, and warned her that Diddy was angry and dangerous. This kind of fear is not normal. When people around you are scared to speak the truth, it shows how deep the control goes. Diddy's accusers talk about parties that were really secret events where people were forced to do things they didn't want to do. They call these freak-offs. These weren't fun parties. These were events where women say they were mistreated and used.
Now, if you was on the other end,
at 5:30 a.m. on this party, I think half the people there were butt naked. You would have loved it.
The law is finally starting to catch up with both Smokey and Diddy. For Smokey, the police are still early in their work. No criminal charges have been made yet.
Hallie, these are some serious allegations, and the attorney's just now calling Smokey Robinson a serial rapist that needs to be stopped.
But that could change soon. For Diddy, the case is already in full swing. People are testifying. Evidence
there wasn't no sympathy or nothing on them when they was getting it done. They was enjoying the shit.
Nancy Ventura's mother, who took the stand yesterday in the racketeering and sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. We've been following it. You have as well. She testified to alleged blackmail by Combs while he
experienced an incredible selection of. Same could happen to Smokey if the police find enough proof. Now, here's where it gets even more strange. There are whispers that Smokey and Diddy may have more than just a friendship or music connection. Some people believe that they may have known about each other's behavior or even shared secrets. While we can't say that for sure, the fact that both are now being accused of similar things makes people wonder, is this just a coincidence? Or is there a deeper connection? Are they part of a bigger group of powerful men who use their fame to take advantage of others? These are questions that people are starting to ask. Some say this might just be the beginning. If more people come forward, we may find out that there is a pattern. Famous men helping each other stay safe while hurting others in secret. And if this is true, then the cases of Smokey and Diddy might just be the tip of the iceberg. That means more people might be involved.
Y'all didn't hear the name that Diddy put out on the fucking list?
Still afraid to speak
Nigga,
up.
he had a whole
It's also
list
important to talk about
that
how
he
the
read
public
out of people's
reacts.
names.
Some fans don't want to believe these
There ain't no
stories.
game.
They say, not Smokey,
They don't
he's a
joke. This shit is
legend,
real.
or not Diddy,
Motherfuckers
he
gonna
made my
get
favorite
clapped around this
songs.
bitch.
But being a
Goofy
great
shit.
artist doesn't mean you can't do bad things. Fame does not mean innocence. That's why it's important to listen to the victims. Their voices matter. They deserve to be heard, not ignored or attacked for speaking up. The people bringing these lawsuits are not asking for attention. They are asking for justice. Some have worked for these men for over 10 years. If they were lying, they wouldn't risk everything: jobs, reputations, and safety to come forward. These are not easy things to talk about, but they are doing it because they want to stop the pain. They want to make sure no one else goes through what they did.
Big ass
We also
Laffy Duck
can't
shoes,
ignore
bitch.
the fact that money and
They got all
power
the
play
money
a
out
big
in the
role.
world and still don't know
These
how to
powerful
dress,
men
bitch.
had a lot of money. They could afford lawyers, bodyguards, and silence. The victims often had none of that. They were regular workers trying to survive. They trusted their bosses and were let down in the worst way. This is why the justice system must look deeper. It's not just about one person. It's about making sure this doesn't keep happening. Well, with Robinson facing a criminal investigation. But so far, he has not said much to the public. No big stars have come forward to support or speak against him either. Everyone seems to be keeping quiet, including Robinson himself. People are wondering why no one in the industry is talking. Is it because they're afraid, or are they waiting for more facts? The silence has left many unsure of what to believe or expect. On the other hand, the case against Combs has received a lot of attention in the news. The media has been covering it closely. People are talking about it on TV, online, and in newspapers. Some celebrities have stayed silent, just like in Robinson's case. But a few famous people, such as Justin Bieber, have spoken up. Bieber has shown support for the victims, which means he believes the people who say Combs hurt them. That took courage because it's not easy to speak against someone powerful in the music world. Many fans have also taken sides, either supporting Combs or believing the victims. The public is clearly watching this case very closely.
A former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs speaking out in a new interview with new allegations about wild parties and use.
Now let's talk about how the two men are defending themselves. Like I said earlier, Robinson hasn't said anything to the public yet. His lawyers haven't released any statements either. That makes people wonder if he is trying to stay quiet until there is more information. Some say that silence can be seen as a sign of guilt, but others believe he might just be following legal advice.
I mean, he settled on other cases before.
People confused and waiting for answers. Combs has taken a different approach. He has pleaded not guilty, which means he says he didn't do anything wrong. His lawyers have been fighting hard to defend him. They say that the people accusing him are not telling the truth. They are also questioning whether the evidence against him is real or strong enough. Combs' team is working to show that the case has holes in it, and that not everything being said is correct. His defense is trying to protect his name and career, which are both at risk.
10 for a second, you don't know who I am and what I do. Let's just put it to the side. Come on. I can feel your home.
During the trial, many things were revealed. An agent named Gerard Gannon, who works for Homeland Security, talked in court about what they found at Combs' house in Miami.
Remember that 2024 raid on his home in Miami Beach? Special agent in charge testified that he found parts of AR-15 rifles in Diddy's master bedroom.
He said they searched the house and found many strange things. In one bedroom closet, they found parts of a large gun, high heels,
what's wrong with that?
Toys, baby oil,
what's wrong with that shit?
lingerie. That raised a lot of questions.
I mean, what's wrong with having the guns
and
sex toys
have
and
so many
lingerie?
personal items like that in their
Then
home?
you're gonna have holes.
The agent said the guns were not put together, so they couldn't be used at the time. But just having them was still concerning.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a tool on me.
Numbers were also scratched off.
Especially this big ass fucking
The next
mansion.
day, the same agent talked
You know what I'm
again.
saying?
This time, he said they found even more things in another closet. This included loaded a Gucci bag full of pills. Some of the pills were MDMA, and there was white powder that tested positive for drugs like cocaine and ketamine.
At the end,
They
that's his
also
own personal
found a
use. You
loaded
don't know what
gun
he's
in a
doing
guest
with it.
house on the property. These items made people think there could be illegal activities going on.
It's his own personal use. He can
Photos
do
of
whatever
all
the fuck
the
he wants
items
to do
were
with
shown
it.
in court to help the jury understand what was found. After that, a doctor named Dr. Dawn Hughes testified. She is a psychologist who studies trauma, which means she helps people who have been through painful events. She explained that it's very common for people in relationships to stay quiet. They often feel scared, ashamed, or trapped. Many don't tell anyone for months or even years. She said love can also keep victims close to their
Shit.
This creates a strong
Some foul shit happen. I'm gonna speak on that
making
shit
it hard to leave.
expeditiously. Fuck
She
they
also
talking about.
explained that some victims try to forget the pain by using or blocking the memories from their minds.
She is talking about domestic violence and situations that come about, how someone becomes a victim. It's important to note she is not referring to anything that Cassie Ventura has talked about. She did not analyze Cassie. She's just talking and speaking in generalities. Her testimony is very limited.
Dr. Hughes said she was paid $600 for every hour she worked and $6,000 for her day in court. This made Combs's lawyers try to say she was biased, meaning she might say things just because she was being paid. They asked if she had ever defended someone accused of crimes, and she said no. She only helps victims, not people being accused. Some people think this makes her more honest. Others think it shows she may not see both sides fairly. Then, another witness named George Kaplan, who used to work for Combs, spoke in court.
He was previously planning to plead the fifth to protect himself from self-incrimination. There he is.
Ooh.
More pics of him.
Yeah.
He testified he was an executive assistant at Combs Enterprise.
He said he started working for
Oh, he
Combs
worked for
in
Sean,
2013 and became his top assistant. He shared that Combs would often threaten to fire him and wanted only the best workers. Kaplan said he talked to Combs every day and helped set up hotel rooms. He put clothes, candles, oils, and other things in the rooms and cleaned up afterward. He said it was very important to protect Combs's image. That means making sure the public only saw the good side of Combs, not the things that happened in private. This case is still going on, and many people are watching. Some believe the victims. Others support Combs. What will happen next is still unknown.
This industry is so fucking weird,
One thing
nigga.
is
You never
clear.
know what the fuck is going on.
These serious accusations have changed the way people look at both Robinson and Combs. For Smokey, the news is shocking to
I
some.
tell anybody,
He has
keep your
always been
eyes
seen
on
as a
alert.
kind,
Always be
gentle
looking
man,
for some shit.
full of
Because it's
talent.
like,
He wrote many famous songs
shit is
and helped
weird out
other
here,
artists
man.
rise. He is part of Motown, which is like the heart of soul music. People grew up listening to his voice and his words. But now, with these new allegations, some fans feel confused or even betrayed. If the investigation finds something serious, it might make people question all of the good things he did in music. His image could be damaged, and that could affect how future generations look at him. Sean Diddy Combs, who is also known as Puff Daddy, is facing a very different kind of trouble. Over the years, he built a brand, not just as a rapper or producer, but as a businessman.
Corporate America is made and built for white men. So when you're going into corporate America, usually your entryway is to help them with their diversity problem. And so that's what I did.
Why would you let the white man trick
He
you,
owns
bro? These
fashion
motherfuckers look
lines,
for niggas to get
deals in
caught up.
TV and alcohol,
To
and
lose
is
everything
known
we
as a
got.
man who turned his fame into a billion-dollar empire. But recent court cases and troubling stories have shaken his reputation. Even though nothing has been proven yet, people are already talking. Some companies are stepping away from him. The music world, which once gave him awards and honors, is now watching him closely. If more information comes out, his name may never carry the same power again. Even though Smokey and Diddy come from different times and styles of music, they are connected in some ways. They have been seen together at big events. They took photos at places like the Grammy Awards and Clive Davis's pre-Grammy Gala. These are events for the top people in music. When they are seen side by side, it shows that both are considered music legends. These pictures also tell a story of mutual respect.
I bet that shit was edited
without
the
saying
fuck up
much,
like crazy.
you can tell that they
AI
honor each
edited.
other. This shared space at major events shows that their names hold great value in the industry. Smokey and Diddy also connect through something deeper, the way music changed from one generation to the next.
Smokey Robinson said, I ain't finna let the
Smokey
temptation get the
helped
best
build
of me.
the world of soul and R&B.
I don't care about anything else but being with you.
His songs made people feel deep emotions. His voice had a smooth sound that made him a star. Years later, Diddy used soul and R&B sounds in his own music. He added beats, rap, and made something new. But he always talked about how Motown and 1970s music inspired him. This shows a line that goes from Smokey's time to Diddy's time.
But you know, they got a lot of hair
Smokey
dye.
passed the torch, and Diddy carried it in a new way. It's
You
like
be
a
wondering,
bridge
damn,
between
why
old school
Diddy looking
music
great?
and the new wave.
Bitch, he's 50-something, nigga. He used a lot of hair dye.
Another thing
You
that
can't
brings
get that
them
in
together
jail.
is Clive Davis, a famous music executive.
You can't get hair dye in jail, bitch.
I opened
Unless you
up
finesse that
myself to
shit.
the possibility of a person rather than a gender. I have never stopped being attracted
That's
to
the
women.
motherfucker who
So
started all
now
of this shit.
dealing with a
Scheming and
subject
scamming ass motherfucker.
Clive worked with Smokey Robinson many years ago, helping his career grow during his Arista Records days. He also played a big role in Diddy's life. Clive Davis gave him platforms and honored him at special events. Both men have been close to Clive, which shows they are part of the same powerful circle. At these Clive-hosted parties and music gatherings, Smokey and Diddy were often photographed together.
But let's not believe anything off the bat as far as the Smokey and Diddy shit, because
even though Smokey and Diddy haven't done many
this life
interviews
is
together or worked on songs side by side,
remember, they looking to get niggas out the paint with any little thing they can find.
YouTube Premium is Diddy has always spoken highly of older musicians. He sees Smokey as a man who lasted in the music world for decades.
Yeah, he's 80 now. Just not getting some. Well, he said it before, but damn.
Has shown love for younger artists. He didn't act jealous or bitter about changes in music. Instead, he welcomed them and even praised the new styles. That kind of attitude helped keep him respected, even as music moved on. Their mutual respect is clear when you see them in public or hear how they speak about the music industry. Both Smokey and Diddy are more than just musicians. They are leaders who opened doors for black artists.
Yeah, they did.
In a world where it was hard for black people to succeed in business or art, they broke through. Smokey helped show that black voices could lead the charts.
Help kick open that
Diddy
door,
proved
bro.
that a black man could run his own company and become very rich. They also helped younger artists by giving advice or chances to shine. They stood for black excellence, showing what could be done with hard work and talent. Their legacies are not just about songs. They are about power, pride, and progress. But now, the future
this shit motivate people, keep people awake and on their toes. Know that these motherfuckers are strike piranhas out here trying to get niggas out the paint.
What was once seen as greatness may now be viewed with doubt. Fans may stop listening. Awards might lose meaning.
Now they don't get that deep.
Might not remember them the same way.
You feel me?
Time will tell how bad the damage is. If they are cleared of wrongdoing, they might recover. But if the facts are bad,
I don't know.
Their
That shit they done pulled on Diddy, man.
be the same. In the end, Smokey Robinson and Sean Diddy Combs helped shape music in big ways.
Yeah,
they came from different times, but their impact touched many people. The recent problems they face are serious. People will now have to decide what to do with the music, the memories, and the truth. Will we still sing their songs with love? Or will their names become reminders of something more complicated? That is the question their legacy now faces.
Damn, bro. That's how it goes, gang. Hope they get back from this. Alright, back. See, hey. Man, like I said, man, them papers. Them green cards. You'll never know what a motherfucker do for them papers and them green cards. let's be honest, bro. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing a lot of shit on social media, man, where they trying to get rid of everybody. If you're not born in this motherfucker, they trying to get rid of people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bruh, we ain't saying that these motherfuckers are perfect. And that's a fact. Because Crip, these motherfuckers get some money out and power and don't know what the fuck these motherfuckers will do. What they did, and what they will do in the future. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the time, we just gotta look at this with logic, Crip. Because if they put the same type of foolery on every black nigga in the motherfucking world, we gotta see that they got something bigger than what is going on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, bruh, we know there's some crazy motherfuckers out here who do have groups who willing to do crazy things. You know what I'm saying? Just cause. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? We can't fall for the foolery and the schemes and scams of them trying to bring niggas down, because they know that the more we rise and be able to open the door for people to come in this motherfucker, the more they gonna be able to try to, you know what I'm saying, us get into power where we're supposed to be at. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we gotta take everything with a grain of salt, Crip. You know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to pull anything, say any outrageous and radical type of situation that's gonna make niggas turn their head and flip and bug the fuck out just to get the attention, the money, the clout, the power, and the destroy. You know what I'm saying? We gotta be smarter and bigger than a lot of this situation that's be happening. We can just look at this shit and be like, okay, we can kind of see where they're going at, and if y'all want to follow and see what's going on into the situation, and not just let the situation go and the outcome gonna be the outcome. But at the end of the day, man, we just gotta keep on examining shit and look it through the BS and see what's what and what's not. So that's how what we giving our part in. And we got this bitch, hood, Northside, big Crip in the gang, Northside shit.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. Even though this is an instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.